What's up, you guys? I'm Natasha. This is the kitchen garden at Shepherding Peppers Farm, and this morning I have a lot of harvesting to do. There's a ton of peppers coming in. I need to check on the melons. We have herbs and spices and seasonings that all need to be harvested and taken in the house. So today, that is my main focus, grocery shopping in the garden to preserve what we have before we start planting in for the fall. And so this morning, we're just gonna have a super chatty harvesting morning. That is my intention, a super chatty harvesting morning. We're going to talk about the plants. We're going to talk about a lot of not plant things, probably. We'll see how it goes. And I'm just really happy that you're here spending the morning with me. So let's get into it. So right now it's late August, and most of the things that I have coming in the garden are peppers and melons, spinach, some pole beans, things of that nature. And because of that, that's what I'm going to be focusing on harvesting today. The peppers, the herbs, the seasonings, all of that good stuff. And we're going to go from there. I will say that I am at war with the mosquitoes right now. So if you're new to the channel, we are in Horry County, South Carolina, which is Myrtle Beach, essentially. We're about 5 miles from the ocean, and we're not in that like heavy populated area like North Myrtle Beach or anything like that, or even Surfside or whatever. We're more towards like the Conway, kind of back a little bit ways, but we're only 5 miles from the ocean. And although we haven't really had many hurricanes this season so far, we've had a ton of rain. Seth and I were talking about it. Seth is my husband, if you're new. And it's almost like we swapped out the rain that we would get from the hurricanes for torrential downpours. And the creek over by the side of our house is just filled with mosquitoes. So I've been at war with them. I've rubbed my skin down with lemon and eucalyptus oil this morning because we're out of bug spray. And the peppers have to be harvested. Like, the garden does not wait. The garden is like, I'm ready when I'm ready. So fingers crossed it works, because the mosquitoes have been terrible. All right, so this first bed right here is sweet peppers, and then these are as well for the most part. We had a couple of random things get planted in there that I wish we hadn't, but they did. So the rain has definitely been impacting the plants a little bit. Peppers don't love an extraordinary amount of rain. But right here, these are Venezuelan tiger peppers, these ones with the purple on them. You can see a few leaves that are like, nope, I'm going to drop, I'm going to give up. That's okay. I'd expect this with the leaves that are yellowing. This is from an overabundance of water, because we still have new blooms and they're growing and they're doing great. So this right here is a bell pepper. These are really nice sized. That one looks like a tush. I'm 4. Most of the time throughout the year, I'll harvest a ton of these ones green. When they're small, I've talked about it numerous times on the channel. I'll link it in the description box below so you guys have the ability to watch that video where I talk a lot about peppers and tips and tricks for growing those, in case you haven't seen it. But if you have, then you know what I'm referencing. These are cubanelles right here. Cubanelles are just absolutely fantastic when they're ripe. That's some sun scald. But yeah, I'm struggling between this war in my head of letting the plants ripen and continuing to harvest them. I think I'm probably going to continue to harvest a good bit, mostly because we still have another 2.5 months before we're expecting our first frost. Our first frost date is expected in mid to late November. So because of that, I still have plenty of time to let the peppers put on a new batch and start ripening. We'll see how many ripe peppers there are today and giant ones. Then I might come back through and do a second harvest of these all this morning to kind of gauge out where everything is at. You can see some really nice ones over there in the back. So we'll check those a little bit more when we get to the opposite side of the panel over there. There's a ripe melon in there. And I say it's ripe, but it's more like overripe at this point. It got a lot of bug damage. So I just put it in the bed and left it, and it can put seeds there and self-sow for next year. So this was an elephant ear pepper. So the plant is still really little because this got planted in late, and so I have no issues taking the ones in the front. And then these are more of the Venezuelan tiger peppers. There's a Leslie right there. I got this kind of funny comment on Facebook on this reel where I was talking about how Venezuelan tiger peppers aren't spicy, because they're not. Like, you can look up any seed company and they'll tell you Venezuelan tiger peppers. And the seeds are very rare, so you know there's not a ton of them, but they're not spicy. They're like habanadas. And I got this comment on the reel where I was talking about it, and they're like, "Don't lie, they're spicy." And I'm like, man, you have nothing better to do with your time. It just cracks me up. I've gotten to a point where I will kind of laugh off the majority of comments that are dumb, or I'll talk to you guys about it, because if you have the ability to say dumb things, and I have the ability to address your dumbness as well in a public forum. But they say these things, and my mind immediately goes to, if I only had a brain. So these hostile plants right here, these are my pepperonchinis. See, this is more of the ideal size, possibly even a little bit bigger than this. So we'll harvest those in a second. And I'm not sure what's going on back here, but you look like a Thai chili, and I guarantee you this came about from seeds that were dropped from last year, because I had a ton of Thai chilies in this bed last year. But that is definitely what that is. And I did not plant any Thai chilies this year because I expected what we have in the pantry to last, and I've been right so far. We have a ton of dried Thai chilies that are put up in the pantry right now, so I don't really need these, but we'll harvest them and use them anyways. And sometimes, well, oftentimes things will self-sow in our garden, because I'm pretty notorious for leaving things and letting things end up self-sowing. Now, this is kind of a bummer. So this right here is a Leslie sweet pepper. Now I can actually still save the seeds. I don't know if I want to, because that's gross. But you want to save your seeds when it's red. We'll see. I'm gonna put this, and I'm scared of this pile over here. Maybe we'll start at the back and work our way up. I don't know. I'm having an ADD moment. My whole life is one giant ADD moment. What am I talking about? It never ceases to amaze me how tall the baby bells get. For example, this right here is a mini baby bell. I'm going to get the tie yuppie tool, and I'm actually going to attach this to the trellis, because this one is leaning over and I don't like that. I came out here at 7 and have needed, I don't know, 45 different things to start this morning. I needed more memory cards for the other camera. I needed tie yuppie things. I needed scissors. So because of that, it's not like 7:45 and I've done nothing. And I'm stressed about it because we just started school. Tie yuppie tool, which I should know where it's at. We just started school, and I did their first day with them, and Seth is helping them to homeschool today. But it's so hot out right now that you really have to prioritize getting outside first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it's just too hot. I mean, that's how it is in the deep south. Can't do anything about it. Plus, I've been a horribly neglectful gardener this year. Look at how great it's doing. It's still producing super well. We've just had a bunch of other chores and projects and things to do, like a million other things. So it's also not a bad idea to tie things up to when we have hurricane watches coming through. There's actually a bunch of stuff happening in the Atlantic right now, and Seth and I have been waging bets on what's going to end up coming our way and what's not. So far, we've had a really good year from the fact that we haven't really had much, which has been really nice, minus the summer rain. But that actually isn't a bad thing, because we need the rain in the garden, because I'm also neglectful at watering sometimes. Okay, so those are mini baby bells right there. I like those red. I'm going to leave those. Who am I kidding? I like all the peppers red. Okay, more mini baby bells. Always remove anything that's close to the bottom, regardless of if it's ripe. There's definitely some ripe peppers on the other side. You look sad. Hopefully you spring back from whatever your temper tantrum is about. So I was reading a study not too long ago about how music affects your garden. and how certain musical sounds like Mozart in the garden actually help stimulate plant growth, which I think is so neat that I had to share that with you. There was also another study that was recently done where people were talking about the scientific effects on how you speak to your plants and the stimulation of growth. Now, I personally believe it has to do with vibrational energy. Not in a weird way, but just like think about a gong, right? If a gong bangs, you feel it resonate in your whole body, like in your ears and everything like that. And I think it's very obvious that as people, we also give off an energy, whether good or bad. You know, if you're an unpleasant person, it can be felt even if you don't say anything. And if you're a pleasant person, most of the time people can feel that too. So I think our energy just kind of goes out there. And they've done this study recently about how you speak to your plants and how it can positively, I had to turn you guys around, how it can positively impact their growth. And I thought that was super interesting. So if you're having garden problems, maybe go out there and talk nicely to your plants. I'm sure that's going to irritate some people. That's okay. I'm going to choose to be happy. These right here are elephant ear peppers. These are lovely. They get quite large. Now, Venezuelan tiger peppers, when they're ripe, are some of my absolute favorites. I know I'd mentioned them just a second ago, but they can have this amazingly fruity flavor to them, but no heat. Like, I love these. Like, this is breakfast. Oh my stars. It's so dang good. Habanadas, which are very similar. They have that fruity flavor to them, but they're not spicy, which is really nice. So, dibs. If they want peppers that are red, they can come out here and they can help me in the garden. We'll have some life school this morning. And when it doesn't, it has that fruity punch that you really expect heat with. I don't know, the mic's really close to my face. Maybe you can hear the crunch. They're so good. I will also save these for seeds. Amazing. I'm trying to kind of keep these separated out. So I'll have a basket of green sweet peppers. I'll have a basket of ripe peppers. Here's another view of the habanadas right there. These are really good even when they're not fully ripe, but they're exceptional when they are. All right, so like I mentioned, I am going to come over to this side and see what we have going on with the ripeness. I'm gonna need these spiders to go away though, because I don't do spiders. That's not my comfort zone. But these got a toppled mess because of the last, it wasn't a hurricane, but it was a giant wind thunderstorm pushed all these down. And you can see for the most part, they're all pretty good still. Those definitely got some damage. And I'm gonna have to try to keep the peppers separated, especially with the spicy ones, because I have different purposes for those. So I'm gonna grab this basket right here. We're gonna harvest. These are the Italian pepperoncinis. I'm going to do a video really soon on making pickled pepperoncinis and some other pepper recipes. I don't have a ton of red peppers in the house right now, so things like red pepper paste, the condiment, and making the paprika, things like that. Those videos are going to take a little bit longer because I don't have them yet. We've been harvesting a lot of ours green still because I've talked to you guys about how the more you harvest your peppers green, the more they will grow and then produce more. And we harvest a lot of green peppers and put them up. Like, I don't buy peppers from the grocery store. I know some people are like it with tomatoes. I am that way with peppers. No. My peppers are so much better. Homegrown peppers are so much better. So I don't buy my peppers from the grocery store. And because of that, I preserve a lot of peppers and you know, pepper type things. And because of that, I've been still working through the green peppers, getting them dehydrated and frozen to use throughout the winter months, things of that nature. So because of that, haven't let a ton ripen so far, but I do plan on doing that. We are going to start doing memberships very soon. I really need to get my butt in gear and do some editing. I'm way behind on my editing. The videos on Saturday are probably the most up-to-date ones, so you'll notice in my next few videos, my hair will be different. It'll be back to the bright blonde that I've had for years, and it's just because those videos are from last month in July, and I haven't taken the time to edit them yet. So no worries, I'm not changing my hair every 5 seconds, but But yeah, I really need to edit a lot of that stuff. But we are going to start memberships on the channel, and people will have like exclusive first access to those videos. They'll still come out. It just might be a little bit later. But yeah, if you want first access to those, if you want to do some live cooking with me, preserving with me, if you want to do some question and answer videos, which I am so excited for, and they can be anything. I just want to sit down and actually be able to talk to you guys and have you talk back. I'm really jazzed on that. So if you are looking forward to that, I will let you know as soon as possible once memberships go live, and I hope to see you there. I'm so excited. Oof, I cannot hold this squat position though for very long. I was mowing the back pasture, and oh my gosh, are you sore the next day? Whoa, that's a big old bug and a big old spider web. Gross. No, we're not doing that. Pass. No bueno. So these right here are Capia sweet paprika peppers. There are many different types of paprika peppers. I've talked about this quite a bit. I think it's in that same video that I was referencing. So again, I'll link that in the description of this one. If I ever don't link a video, just be in the comments and be like, Tasha, put the video in there like you said you would. So yeah, sometimes I'm bad about that with editing. So these are Capia sweet paprikas. These are one of two different types of paprika peppers that we're growing in the garden. These plants have been wildly productive, and I will absolutely continue to use these in the future because they've been excellent peppers, excellent producers. They're tender enough that you can eat them as a snacking pepper first before you want to start letting them ripen and turn red. So all around, huge win. The plants are so productive. I've been so pleased with these. Super happy with those. So we're going to harvest a good bit of these. Again, I'm going to look through a lot of the red pepper stuff first, assess where we're at, and then harvest some green stuff. Pretty close to being red. Okay, what is up with these spiders, dude? Can you see this? Like they're little. They look kind of like a black widow, and the webs are really sticky like a black widow, so I don't know what the deal is with those ones. And it seems like there's been more and more last year and the year before, but they make me feel a little bit jumpy, and I don't like that. Now I will probably come back over here and stake these up. I might actually go grab some stakes from the garage because these got damaged. Most of the time the peppers hold themselves up really well and I don't have to worry about it, but you can't really control nature. And when you get big storms that come through, it makes it a lot harder. So that goes on the to-do list if I didn't actually end up doing it this morning. We'll just see how hot it gets. And since I'm in jeans because the mosquitoes, you know. Sargia giant chocolates. Those are massive. So this is the popolo. We're going to harvest that. The popolo, surprisingly enough, has been one of my new absolute favorites in the garden. I would love to grow this year after year. It smells so good. It's a substitute for cilantro. It's a Mexican herb. I found it from Baker Creek because we struggle to grow cilantro here, and this has just been excellent. So I really love this. This has been great. Leslie sweet pepper. These right here are the Venezuelan tiger peppers. And habaneros poking through on this side. I don't know if you can see them quite as well as I can, but here you've got some more elephant ear peppers. These really big, monstrous ones. These look awesome. This is the toothache plant. We're going to harvest more of that. We've been harvesting it like crazy. And then over here, I have sweet Genovese basil. We're going to go ahead and harvest this too. The more you harvest your basil, the better. The more it'll bush out and be fragrant and lovely. So this is the toothache plant. I've talked a lot about what we use it for in previous videos, but it will naturally numb your mouth. That's why it's called toothache plant. We use it in teas and to make cough drops and all sorts of things. I'm going to be doing a tea video this fall. I haven't had time this summer to do it. I've basically been going through the process of harvesting the herbs and dehydrating them. They are all in Ziploc bags currently, like dehydrated and labeled. And we will use, there's going to be a wealth of information in that. I'm really excited to film it. Once they come down, I will be able to do the tea video series. We're going to replicate like the major teas that you would get in a grocery store. And we're going to talk about a bunch of herbal teas that you can make and grow in your own garden for medicinal benefits. Again, that'll be something that's on our membership channel first. And then we'll also be able to do live question and answers about the tea making process or specific herbs. So that'll be great. So this monstrosity, this beauty right here is vining moonflower, and there's actually a couple of blooms in here that are starting to close up because the sun is coming up. So you have bush moonflower, but you also have the vining variety, and they're exceptionally beautiful. The flowers are just gorgeous when they're fully open. They only bloom at night. So I'd love to remember to come out and get a photo at night. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to write it down while I'm editing. I need to trim this back though because this is wildly out of hand. This right here is actually a flower that's going to bloom tonight. So that would be really cool if I could come out and get one tonight. But the sun just now came up, so I did a lot of beautiful things on the trellis this year because it made me happy too. I feel like we should do that. I feel like we should do the things that bring our heart joy. And I just had them over here on this side. The ones that I planted over here didn't make it. And look at how far they've traveled. I would be really happy actually if this was a perennial. This would be great. I can't remember if it is or not. It's my first year growing it, so I'll have to look into that. So I did come through and clean out this bed not too long ago. We harvested a ton of melons. And somehow we still have vine peaches that managed to escape me and are growing and doing quite well actually. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead and take these. They'll ripen just slightly more. They're typically like a bright yellow when they're fully ripe, but that's okay. Check the other side. Sometimes that will happen where things will just escape you, even when you're clearing things out. They just wanted to survive. And apparently this little baby melon did too. Hopefully it withstands the bugs. At this point, if it's not a watermelon, the bugs are just destroying it. This will be one of the beds that we change out to the stone ones in the fall, as will these ones. So I'm going to do my next wave of summer type crops in here, which sounds odd, but when you have such a long growing season, you can do a couple of waves of things. I have some tomatoes that I already started So I'll put those in those beds over there, and the more through the entire winter stuff that will go in the stone beds because we're going to keep those throughout the winter. Well, forever, really. That's a stink bug enjoying my pepper plant. And no longer. I'm going to take these little bells in there. I broke that. That's okay. That's going to happen from time to time. You know what? I'm going to tie this up and then I'll harvest anything that is hanging over the sides of the bed. Maybe that'll help me to focus a little bit. Sardi Giant chocolates. These are little Cubanelles down here, which I much more prefer. They're typically harvested green, but I prefer them when they're red because they're incredibly sweet, and no one ever talks about how sweet they are when they're red, which just kills me. Look at how big these Sardi Giant chocolates are already, and they're nowhere near done growing. Just crazy. Yeah, I'm really at a place where I want to let a lot of these ripen. These look like Anaheim peppers or possibly guajillos. So I'm going to take these and put them in a different section. They have this curved nose at the end, which identifies them to me as one of my hatch chilies. And sometimes things just get misplanted where they shouldn't be. So we'll come back and get those because those are going to be a spicier variety. But they'll be good for making diced green chilies. So which is another video I would like to do soon. Need to prioritize it this week or next week for sure. One of the two. These are tortilleros. I'm just picking the ones down here that are kind of underneath the line of support that I just gave them. Other than that, I will probably let them start turning red. Mostly I need this out of the way because I mow in through here and I don't want to turn these over when I mow them because that's not ideal. Yay! These are starting to ripen. So these are jalapenos that accidentally got planted over here. We're gonna make our way to the spicy pepper bed in a second. I really hope it doesn't rain because I will stand out here in the rain and harvest if I have to. I mean, as long as it's not flooding, raining to the point that you can't see anything, but I will stand out here and harvest if it is necessary. Look how lovely those are. Those are really good size. These are Craig's Grande jalapenos, so that's a good size for them. They've done good. The Megatrons are better for sure. They get much bigger, but looks like we're going to be doing some pickled jalapenos. That'll be fun. Oh my gosh, with that spider, just go away. Give up. I don't want you here. All right, so this is the Malabar red spinach trellis right here, and then these are the maypops. I had one that was already, or passion fruit. Most people know it as passion fruit, but it's also called maypop. I had one that was on the ground, which signifies to me that they're getting pretty close to being ready. So what I'm going to do is literally shake the trellis, and we'll see if anything else falls off. It just started getting really windy, so I'm hoping that that doesn't mean that the rain is on the way, but it probably does. I keep checking on this melon. I feel like I'm mildly stalking it. No, mosquito. Okay, the farther we get back towards the garden, the worse it's gonna get. The mosquitoes are out of control. Like, it's making me crazy. But I see this one right here. It's starting to get a little bit of browning on the stem, and the curlicue has dried up. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one. It's a neat little melon right there. But yeah, the more we get back towards the edge of the garden, it's just gonna get worse. The mosquitoes, they're terrible right now. I've been looking everywhere for the scissors that we just had so we could cut that. Having no luck. Okay, so this right here is more sweet Genovese basil, so I'm going to harvest a good bit of this, and then I would like to harvest the dahlias. Hopefully then we will make it to all the spicy peppers in the back, but we'll just have to see if the weather holds up and how determined I really am to harvest in the rain, because I would prefer not to if I don't have to, but we'll see. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I told you this, but I made basil jelly for the first time, like this last week. It's the most delicious thing ever. It's even better than the rose jelly or the watermelon jelly. I'm just shocked. I was not expecting to like it at all, and holy crap on a cracker, it's amazing. Amazing. Just out of this world, so good. So good. You see this? I'm trying to whisper. I don't want to scare her. She's huge. That's our state butterfly. That's a swallowtail butterfly. And then the one next to it, that other butterfly right there, that is the butterfly that eats the maypop. So how beautiful is that though? Reason 912 to love the garden. So this is the explosion of the banana melon. And it might ripen just a little bit more. So I'm going to take the banana melon, at least that one. This is a pepperonchini right here. I had another one that we were just harvesting from not too long ago, and it's much happier than this one because you can see it's being very bullied by the banana melon. Very bullied. Oh, look at that. You're pretty. That's a beautiful melon. Pepper. All right, so I'm cooked for today, I think. But is that going to stop me from harvesting? No. I'm basically just going to talk a bunch of nonsense for the rest of this garden tour. So I hope you're prepared for that. Garden tour, harvesting day, whatever it is. Who knows anymore? I don't. And through here, we've got different peppers. I've got poblano peppers. That's what you were just seeing a second ago. Right here. Poblanos. And after the poblanos, we've got some, they're again being attacked by this monstrous, I just dropped that now. Aw, banana melon. So this is a banana melon that's self-sowed from last season, and it's a bully because it's big and healthy. All right, I'm gonna grab a basket or baskets. Boy, oh boy, is it preservation time. Like it's time. So really quickly, I'm gonna kind of label out what I have here for you, give you a rough idea, and then I'm gonna put you on a time lapse so you can see the baskets as they fill up, because this is just a lot of food and I'm one person harvesting this big garden. So we have poblanos, guajillos, poncas, and banana peppers. In the back we do have some That's nice. These are all cherry tomatoes on the top over through here. And at this point, it's a jungle. You can see the tomatoes are sticking out from the peppers and so on and so forth. And then down here, this is the mixed pepper bed. It has a bunch of different peppers that lost their labels in a windstorm. These right here are Anaheims, I think. These, I believe, are big gems. These are the giants. Look how big that is. That's a Megatron jalapeno. These are the perfect peppers for stuffing, for grilling. I love these because they're large, so I can stuff these with cream cheese and wrap them in bacon, and it's amazing. And then over and through here, these are the Vicente sweet habaneros. These are my favorite, one of my favorites for making hot sauce when they're ripe, especially. And then we've got a whole bunch of serrano peppers in through here. Oh my gosh, there's just so much fruit, guys. I'm going to do something I normally wouldn't do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort these in the house. I'm going to put them all in one basket, or baskets, probably. Alright, well, on that massive note, I'm going to need a wheelbarrow to take all this inside. I am going to weigh out the peppers after I sort them, and maybe this will be included, like the weighing and what we actually harvested at the end. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye just in case I go inside and pass out. Bye, y'all.